of today's training is to provide you with an update from the Association of Energy Engineers presentation that was completed in Nashville, Tennessee in September 2023. As you may be aware, the purpose of our program is to meet the 2020 mandates of the Energy Policy Act of 1992, as well as the Energy Executive Summary, Executive Order 14057, as well as the new changes in decarbonization. The name of this presentation is Commissioning an MMV in Existing and in New Buildings and Boiler Plants and Chiller Plants in Net Zero. I'm Terrence Rollins, Energy Program Manager for Coatesville VA Medical Center, and also an Association Energy Engineers Fellow and a 30-year certified energy management professional. The context. As you may be aware, the United States Department of Energy has $250 million investment in district energy projects in the multi-tenant campuses with multiple buildings and residential communities. Example, the existing medical center is financed for all-inclusive energy transfer stations and MMV protocol and Executive Order 14057, catalyzing clean energy industries and jobs for federal sustainability, issue 21-1208. What are the objectives of the Department of Energy program? It is to complete AFAC grants for the Utility Energy Savings Contract, employ a FEMP compliant measurement and verification program, utilize eProject Builder, utilize real cost financial analysis programs for energy projects, district energy and CHP, adhere to ASHRAE and similar standards, and meet the United States Department of Energy Ready Navigator 15001 energy management standard. Okay, how do we do it? What will we do to it? What we have when we do what we do? How well does it do it now? We do it now. We can do it. What can we do? What will that do? How will we do it? Do it. How did we do it? And what do we do now? Setting the scope, what's in and what's out. When looking at an energy management program, we determine which buildings, what's the operations, which systems, and equipment. We determine the scope of the investigation, the criteria for inclusion, the materiality, periodic usage, and resiliency. Where are we at? Well, how well does it do it now? We need to benchmark. Before the audit, we benchmarked our facilities over the past 20 plus years against various hospitals. The current performance versus industry standard. What can we do to it? We developed ECMs, energy conservation measures, and what will they do when we do the energy model, which is important before developing the baseline. We want to invest in an investment grade audit. What can we do to it? Plan, do, act, check. Plan, do, act, check. Before the audit, what will they do? Energy model, the energy model. And on energy conservation measures and modeling, carefully consider interreactivity, stacking effect, risk, exposure, and operational assumptions. Implementing, doing the do. What is investment grade audit? What can we do? Investment grade audit is employing multiple technologies, M&V, also data loggers to assess every energy consuming device and systems that are in a portfolio. And on the energy ECMs modeling, carefully consider interactivity, stacking effect, as well as the risk associated with the energy program, because there's always risk associated with that, is to identify, according to Mitchell Swan, ASHRAE distinguished lecturer, to identify all the energy conservation measures and the risk associated with each one in finite detail. Defining the expectations. And the expectation, you want to implement an investment grade audit. What can we do to it? Develop the ECMs, we evaluate the ECMs, we implement the ECMs, and what will they do? Look at the energy model, the baseline for 2010, this didn't start yesterday, and then the 2022 energy audit, we identified, myself and other experts, identify the interactivity, risk exposure, and operational assumptions. This is a construction project. So what can we do to it? Develop the ECMs, evaluate the ECMs in construction, and then we do it, which is implement stage after the audit. After the audit, we measure, we do it, we implement, we execution, and how do we do? What do we do now? We manage the risk. Why? Supply chain disruption. There's been opportunities with the delay in construction, cost increase in steel. Also, the effects of the supply chain disruption that's happening within our country right now as a result of the cost increasing steel and supply chain management. We need to develop a project management schedule before we even consider developing the program. And then the startup and commissioning issues that are usually consistent with allowing the contractor to lead the way. So how do we do it and implement? We do it. And then we implement and execute, measure, and verify. We develop the e-project builder model, which is important for them. We'll get over that later. We evaluate the actual against predicted, adjust to align, and then we reassess. Again, implement after audit. After audit, then we measure. You can't manage what you can't measure. So measure against your yardstick or your assumptions. Identify the building scope operations and the scope of assessment. Conduct the energy audit. Every year, conduct the audit. Every 4 years is required to do a full-blown audit. As we know that according to ESA, the Energy Independent Security Act 2007 is required to have a highly trained certified energy manager in any facilities or campus over 500,000 square feet. So once we conduct the energy audit, we develop the energy conservation measures, we implement, then we evaluate, then we measurement and verification as per the e-project building model, and then evaluate actual against predicted just to align and reassessments. What is e-project builder? It enables, it's a federal program, allows federal agencies and customers to standardize data formats across contractors and market segments, preserve project information, measure and verification data, upload data in perpetuity, enable data-driven analysis and project decision-making. We enable portfolio level data tracking and reporting, offers customized downloadable reports, and export data feature, and generates stabilized project financial schedules and portfolio level reports. Project Builder is a program where it starts where the customer is the project initiator, which is myself, initiating the projects, and also the approvals from the 2022 energy audit data that was completed. And then also the roles as the ESCO builder. Since I have been a certified energy manager, AE fellow, I'm able to fill into an ESCO role as if I was an ESCO, as unlimited mechanical contractor license, being able to implement the information and the data, and then also have the viewer, which is central office, to have the oversight and understanding of the program. So what are we really looking for in M&V, measurement and verification? You notice the energy consumption and the baseline period. You'll hear that the baseline period was here FY22 to FY24. And then, the increase productivity with just the baseline. So if we wanted to report what we wanted to do, we would reduce this gap analysis in energy during that time period. Tools. What tools you can use? You need a robust building automation system. Most systems have 3 or 4 systems, and they're proprietary and do have the interoperability per the BACnet standards and the landmark standards. So building automation is used to perform trending, fault detection, implement into a CMMS. If you have a robust computerized maintenance management program, it is even more so great that you have that, because then you can use the system to check the checker. And that's very important because some building automation systems dialogue with Maximal and other systems for the interoperability and tied into the Indy model. When I was with GSA, We implemented Maximo, and I want four-wheel drive along the building information model, the architectural model, the energy model, and the CMS implementation is very important as the energy manager, senior energy manager, to have experience in facility management, managing facilities. What are the standards and guides that we have? We have the ISO 50001 certification readiness. We have the MMV guidebook, the ASHRAE measures verification, the standards for zero, and also the efficiency evaluation organization sets the standards as the M&V program is an international program, which is required. M&V is required for a utility energy savings contract or energy performance savings contract, required. Then the approaches. What are the innovative approaches? What did we do? What is the pathway to problem? We identified the problems. I went through each building, each nook and cranny, current light fixtures. We conducted audit. Again, we develop, implement, evaluate, measure, and verify, and then we evaluate against the predicted, and then we adjust accordingly. Say, example, if the price of utilities went up from the previous year, you have to do an escalation into your performance and reevaluate that in life cycle cost analysis based on the metrics that you have. Now, what is the considerations for risk? Risk is very important to us. We want to minimize the risk so that we won't have any gotchas or anything to happen at the last minute that could offset your project. Because you see, the cash flow is sometimes uncertain. Okay, and we also want to look at the project useful life, utility rate escalation, the projections. As FEMP is a Federal Energy Management Programs, it pretty much runs the energy management program across the country and works with various agencies, DOD, the Department of Defense, Air Force, who are now entering into infrastructure renewal projects. Infrastructure renewal projects, we just don't have the cash that we could have just to pay for money. Certain situations they do, but this is a good opportunity to compete for energy dollars using the Federal Energy Management Program standard. Another view. One thing when looking at AESPC, you want to look at the various risks and assess those risks up front and have a strength, weakness, opportunities and threats, a SWOT, from an MBA and PhD training in business and energy. Look at the line items that we have. Financial difficulties, that's what interferes with most projects, not able to get the FEMP award. Lack of skills and expertise, we're seeing a shortcoming, a lack of professional engineers, and a shortage of certified energy managers that have ESPC US experience. Insufficient investments, lack of financial monies, improper MMV, modeling designs, and SCORE VA, or any organization that are able to look at your modeling and life cycle cost analysis on the table prior to implementing the project, so you can look at the savings to investment ratio. You need to have a commissioning program that's due to poor quality construction, and the list goes on. Standardization, poor maintenance. If you don't have a great, robust CMMS system, you're probably going to be using manual work order closeout. Also, legislation is very strong now. And also equipment performance. We need to replace those old R22 units, anything that you have that's affecting your baseline. Department of Energy grant application and practice in a 24/7, 365 medical center. This is an output of the AFACT program, which I uploaded our energy audit from scratch. We don't have any admins or duplicate effort to do work for you. So as senior energy manager, PhD level, you have to have your own admin tools. I put in all the utility bills from everything from cradle to grave. And then I'm able to look at our system as energy management system as we receive the ISO 50001 readiness awards as a result of that, which is another presentation coming forth. Here's another output of the schedules for each of the various ECMs that I selected, and the cost savings, the analyses, and also the baseline. Notice the baseline and what energy you are saving can be saved if you had all the money to implement these projects. Example is a schedule of the various estimated cost savings of each ECM. So, as you notice, commissioning has the easiest payback of 1.34. Boiler plants have the longest one, as well as the chiller replacement. Example is another printout of the greenhouse gas emissions as a result of the information uploaded from the FY22 energy audit, not last week's boiler conversation, but from the FY22 energy audit. This is the neutral aspect of a campus that you're seeing here, of the campus. If we're modeling a campus from the 21,000 foot perspective, or 6 degrees of separation is now 12 degrees of separation. And notice the sprawling community for opportunities for real renewable projects. Notice the boiler plant, the chiller plant, the water tower, and this is a typical campus. And this is where the grant application is really great for a campus if you have one. Let's take a look at the models that we have here for the energy grant in practice and the 24/7 365 medical center. When I implemented the ISO 50001 program, again, it was based on the baseline. The baseline still holds true with a life cycle cost analysis that's computer generated and completed. The opportunity for improvement is to tie as much renewable energy as you can into your existing platform. Have a Resili here in one location. We have 100% generator backup power. If there was occurrence, we're on a demand side management program. We can also peak shave or do anything that we like within reason. All the emissions has to be reported to the Commonwealth where we reside, and any other organization, any other state that's in on the PJM grid. PJM grid, the PJM grid, Pennsylvania, Jersey, Maryland, where each of our facilities in the country, certain ones, colleges, hospitals have double-ending substations. What does that mean? That means by having a double-ending substation, if you lose a main power feed somewhere, then you're able to have another feeder from another part of the country or another part of your utility grid, whether it's Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Maryland, or Delmarva, and PECO or PEPCO in Virginia, and you can always have reliable power. Reliable power. Then remember in 2000 and in the 2000s, we had a grid opportunity for improvement in Ohio and affected everything. Since then, we have become more smarter than the microgrid and have emergency backup generators, instantaneous power supplies, instantaneous system readiness, remote operations, and all of the things that, like in a medical center, you also have critical IT infrastructure where experts are not familiar with. You have to have those structures, have to be able to be powered up and for the why, because that's your business, that's your base business. You want to be able to have your base business and energy conservation measures, as well as your IT is sometimes separated. Computer room air conditioning system have its own grid emergency power backup generator. And as you know, computer rooms, air conditioners have a sensor heat ratio of 90 and above. You don't use a regular standard air conditioning system or split system on those units because of the humidity and temperature controls and the reporting in those specific areas regarding the computer room air conditioning entity in which it is serving. So in the back of the room, we have handouts for everyone that is interested, as again, each project builder is a great program. I've looked at a lot of programs and ESCO programs, being a former ESCO, and it's very seamless. You just have to put in the time to do that. One of the standards is to ensure that Vision 4 or any other place can have the opportunity to compete for these funds. But as it's been mentioned, down through years, 30 years, the project manager told me, says, Mr. Rollins, you need to develop all the projects on the table up front. If you don't have funding, develop the projects as if you were going to implement themselves and you didn't have any money, or you have money for the client to see the funding opportunities. Back in the day, the ESIP funds, Energy Conservation Investment Funds, the DOD were fluent. You develop a project as a resource efficiency manager in a few years or so, the projects get picked up, and then you implement the ECMs, and then you also look at your MMBTU savings, which is an indicator of greenhouse gas emissions. Then you manage that project. Most project managers or CORs, there are energy conservation project managers and construction representatives that do the work for the energy manager, and a viable schedule and a commissioning plan is required to support an M&V plan as such. Failure to do so can have different results of your energy management verification and also your M&V. You have to use your three-phase inspection programs. As a former Corps engineers instructor, you want to be able to say, okay, contractor, yeah, you implemented it, but we can't pay you because we haven't witnessed the testing and things of that nature. So this concludes the energy management training series Monday morning meetings from October until next year, until next spring, until we have some cool weather and that we could go out to the field and get some things done. And so with that being said, we're going to sign off here today at this Monday morning meeting. We didn't have any experts in us today, but this is going to be the showcase going forward as we record each documented presentation, which ties into the Executive Order 14057 and decarbonization. Big things are boilers now. And again, it's tough to replace an infrastructure, but you have to evaluate and simulate the program and share the results with upper management so that they can make financial decisions to help you. Then this concludes the G1 session, Innovative Approaches to M&V, Commissioning and Measurement Verification in New, Existing Buildings, Boiler, and Chiller Plants. And net zero buildings. And we know net zero is hard to create self-generated utilities, so that's sometimes a little bit, I believe there's one place out in the West Coast that is actually doing that. So again, we conclude this program, and we hope that you have a great October as old man winter's kicking in, and make sure all your maintenance done, get things squared away, and have a great day at your facility. Thank you.